You tell us a little bit about the people that you draw inspiration from in terms of your leadership and why.
Well, Grant was a very big figure to me for a number of reasons. He was, I think, near genius as a tactical leader, an operational leader, and a strategic leader. He does have a tough time at Shiloh, but that's where he utters that phrase. Sherman comes out of the night. It's one of these rainy nights. Grant's sitting out in the open. He's just waiting for the sun to come up. We've all experienced this in the field. Had a very tough day on the battlefield that day. Almost pushed back into the Tennessee River. He's literally on the bank of the river. Every available area with cover is being used as a makeshift hospital. You can hear the screams of those who are having limbs amputated. There's still people out on the battlefield who haven't been recovered who are calling out. And he's got his slouch hat on, a wet cigar in his mouth, rain's dripping off his hat. And Sherman comes out of the dark and says, "Well, Grant, we had the devil's own day today, didn't we?" And Grant says, "Yep, lick 'em tomorrow, though." And that kind of determination is inspirational if you're in a tough fight like we were in the surge in Iraq. And it just so happened I was reading Grant Takes Command, and I find I'm just enthralled by what he experienced. Bruce Catton captures this brilliantly. And then, of course, he has the Battle of Vicksburg, one of the great operational battles of all time, and so risky that his most trusted lieutenant, Sherman, asks that a letter be put in the official file that he objects to the level of risk. And Grant throws loose, and then he comes back and invests Vicksburg in a siege and ultimately takes it down. A huge, huge battle, because this gives the North now control of the Mississippi River, and it splits the Confederacy in two. And then he develops the first real strategy ever for the Union forces. And it's basically that Sherman's going to come across, he's going to take Atlanta, Savannah, and come north. He's got a couple of different generals coming out of the Tidewater area. They're all headed, here's Richmond. He's got Sheridan coming down the Shenandoah Valley, taking it away from the Confederates for the first time. Used to be their granary, their source of stores and so forth. And then he's in Meade's back pocket going right at Lee. And when he hits Lee the first time, instead of backing up to Washington as every general had done before him, he just sidesteps and hits him again. And the troops cheer when they realize they're not walking back to Washington. And he writes to Lincoln and he says, "I intend to fight it out all summer on this line if that's what it takes." And it took all summer, all fall, all winter, and into the spring before Appomattox in April 1865. But a brilliant operational plan. And frankly, people forget that there could have been a very different outcome if Sherman had not taken Atlanta and if Sheridan hadn't won in the Valley, because that basically sealed the election for Lincoln, which prior to that was very much open. There were those that wanted to sue for peace, and McClellan was a viable alternative candidate in that regard. So he's really an extraordinary hero in that sense. Just the sheer will, the indomitable determination, the quiet fortitude and so forth that I found very instructive, again, literally during the surge itself. And I told that story about Sherman a couple of times on very, very bad days. And guys still write to me, and at the bottom, we'll put "lick 'em tomorrow." And it's something.